Mitchell Rentz here, NFL mailbag time. And if you want to get your questions on our show, you got to use hashtag NFL or Super Chat. You also got to join us live Monday and Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. First question coming in here is from Matthew Frey. Where will Fitzmagic end up in the offseason? It's a great question. I'm trying to figure out whether or not he can be a starter or not. I actually think the logo that you have, the Denver Broncos, could actually make some sense if a guy like Drew Lock doesn't end up working out. I don't think he ends up staying with, the Miami Dolphins. Also, potentially the Chicago Bears if they don't hit anyone in the draft. There's a lot of options, but Fitz is definitely a tough person to put my finger on. Junior, can the New England Patriots get better next season? Of course they can. I mean, they were 7-9. They had 6 players opt out. Stephon Gilmore was hurt. You get a better quarterback because I don't think it can get much worse. Sure, you can 100% get better. Jackson Fulton, do you think that the Vikings can trade for Deshaun Watson? I do not think so, just because they're not going to move on from Kirk Cousins. They're going to have to eat a lot of money in the process. And in teams for being the top destination, it doesn't make a lot of sense for the Vikings. And Watson, I don't see why he would want to go to Minnesota. Remember, he's got a no-trade clause. The Latino 69, do you think Justin Fields falls to 8? And if not, where does he go? He could potentially fall to 8. I mean, the Carolina Panthers, I know this is I actually made a video of projecting Justin Fields going to the Carolina Panthers. I've also seen multiple mock drafts where he ends up going there. The Panthers could potentially even try to go up and get Fields. The issue is this. He's my number 3 quarterback. If it goes Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, if Carolina wants him, I think you're going to have to go up and trade for him because the way that the draft falls, I just don't think that that's ultimately going to happen. But sure, it could possibly happen. Let's go to Gooby Graves. Eagles draft Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is one of my favorite prospects in this year's draft. You could make the argument to me, honestly, if you rated it just pass catchers, he should be up there with Devonta Smith, with Jamar Chase. He reminds me of a lot of a guy like Darren Waller. For the Eagles, you're probably not going to get back Zach Ertz. Sure, you still got Dallas Goedert, but if you want let's say, a receiver and both Jamar Chase and Devonta Freeman are both off the board, Kyle Pitts is the next guy I would go with. I would take him over Jalen Waddle, but is that really the biggest need for Philly? I'm not 100% sure. They got a lot of needs, but I do love me some Kyle Pitts. Christopher, top 3 sophomore receivers next year outside of Justin Jefferson. Well, then I guess I'm just going to go with CeeDee Lamb. I'm going to go with Henry Ruggs, and I'm going to go with Jerry Jeudy. It's probably not the sexy pick there. Henry Ruggs, I could see potentially not working out. I would also go with a guy like Brandon Ayuk. I'm not a big believer in Jalen Reagor. Michael Pittman, depending on who plays quarterback there, I thought he did a great job this past season, but definitely some options. Claypool had a great year as well, but definitely my top 2 is going to be CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy. Magic Carp 2114. What did he evolve into? Throw it in the comments section. Do you think that the Miami Dolphins will trade down their number 3 pick? If yes, which team is more likely to trade? I'll tell you what, man. If I was the Miami Dolphins, I would 100% trade the number 3 pick. So, is Penei Sewell a great player? Yes, absolutely. But if you're Miami and you could trade down and potentially get somebody else, I mean, why not do it? I mean, if I'm Miami, I'm looking at Penei Sewell, looking at Devonta Smith, and I'm looking at Jamar Chase. If one of those 3 players I think is going to be there, let's say at pick 6, 7, 8, you go ahead and do it. And if I'm like a team like Carolina and I really want to go get a quarterback, you could potentially see a trade like that. So I think that Miami should, but I'm also always trade down unless like the 100% player that you want is there. And for Miami, I think they'll have a few other options. All right, name a quarterback that will get traded. Wow, I said that weird. Seriously, try to look into the crystal ball, figure it out. I love trying to figure out where quarterbacks get traded. I also love blockbuster trades. It's probably my favorite videos that I do here at Chat Sports. So if you guys want to put some questions and some comments around some names that you see in the live chat, please. That's kind of where I want this whole thing to go. Name a quarterback that you think will get traded and ask me some questions about some quarterbacks that could get traded. Let's go to Cheater Jultex. Can the Broncos get Lavonte David? Absolutely they can. It's really curious to see what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to do. Do they decide to try to keep a guy like Lavonte David? Do they try to keep a guy like Shaq Barrett? Do they try to keep both? I mean, I think Lavonte David is one of the most underrated linebackers in all of football. If they don't have Von Miller, then yes, you're going to see a bigger, I think, a bigger player that they're going to go after as an edge rusher. I would actually say Shaq Barrett fits more than Lavonte David, but There's going to be a lot of teams going after David. He's one of the best linebackers in all of football. Stephen Curry, what up? Should the Browns go after Justin Simmons or Lavonte David? Browns, Lavonte David, yes. Every single team should go after Lavonte David. And then in terms of Justin Simmons, it depends what they're going to do at safety. I mean, I already like Grant Delpit a lot. They're going to move on from Carl Joseph, who's going to be a free agent. Also, what's his name? Sendejo, whatever the heck. He's probably going to be done in Cleveland. If you need an extra safety and you can go out and spend some money on Simmons, and the Browns definitely have the money, you got to at least be interested in it. However, I don't know if that's the route they go. If I'm Cleveland, I try to get another edge rusher to put next to Myles Garrett. Sure, a linebacker would be great, but there's a lot of talented safeties out there, and a lot of safeties that I think could fit in Cleveland Browns' defensive scene. We got Cody Douglas, Bud or Coors? All right, so type B for Bud Light, type C for Coors Light. In terms of overall taste of a beer, it's Bud Light for me. In terms of which beer company I respect more, it's Coors Light, because Coors Light's doing a great job trying to get Tom Flores into the Hall of Fame. So, taste, Bud Light. The company I respect and the company that I'm going to buy for more, it's Coors Light. Rick Adams. Okay, we got Brian Greasy, hashtag NFL. Interesting. Think the Broncos should trade Drew Lock and Von Miller for Watson. What do you think? If the Houston Texans are willing to do that trade, yes, you absolutely do it. It's just not going to happen. I mean, there's just not enough trade value. If you want to do Von Miller, Drew Lock, throw in probably another, 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks, that probably piques the Houston Texans' interest a little bit more. But if I'm Houston, I'm sorry. It's going to hurt your ears, Bruce Sam. I don't want Drew Lock in my football team. I'd rather just draft a quarterback. Okay, I like it, Sam. So from a scale from 0 to 100, how good is Drew Lock? So you guys have played Madden before, right? That's how I want this question to go. Imagine you're the creators of Madden, right? Heck, NCAA football's coming back. I'm hyped. What would Drew Lock's rating be from a scale from 0 to 100? Go down in the comments section. Let me know. I'm curious what y'all have to say. And no surprise, seeing a few 69s in the chat. So, as always, as Sam said, yeah, because he Toms. If you don't know that joke, it's probably because you're not subscribed. So rate Drew Lock as a quarterback, scale from 0 to 100. We got a deal right now, and I'm just trying to keep it 100 with y'all. Go get your loved one something special for Valentine's Day. It's right around the corner. Gift giving, it's not easy. Shopping, maybe you don't have the time. This is why you trust the professionals. Pro Flowers, they're going to hook you up with an awesome deal. If you want an awesome bouquet of flowers, do it. Don't be the random guy that's walking on the street trying to pick out daisies and random flowers and put them in a vase. She ain't going to like it. Pro Flowers, they got awesome bundles of flowers. Maybe she's got a sweet tooth. Maybe she wants some chocolate. We got the hook up there as well. Charcuterie boards. Spell it? Have no idea. Luckily, I don't have to spell it to be able to get it. chatsports.com/flowers. That's easy to spell, and it's easy to remember. Also, macaroons. Who doesn't like macaroons? If you don't like macaroons, I don't trust you, period. 15% off. Gifts, flowers, chocolates. We got it all here. Valentine's Day coming up. Get your loved one something special, and if you see something that you like on the website, say, hey, babe, we'll get it. We'll share it. chatsports.com/flowers. 15% off gifts and chocolates and all that good stuff. All right, Cody Douglas, do you think Tua is still worth a first in a trade? Do I think the Miami Dolphins should trade him for a first? Yes, I do. Would I give up a first-round pick for Tua? No, I wouldn't. Andrew Neal, who should Washington target at quarterback? I'll say just about anyone that won't turn over the football. I mean, in terms of who they should get, I would say their number one person in a trade should actually probably be a guy like a Derek Carr. I think it'd be a really interesting prospect there. Ryan Fitzpatrick could be an interesting option. Excuse me, Jimmy Garoppolo, an interesting option. You got to find somebody that's not going to turn over the football, that can just be an above-average quarterback, because you have a great defense, you have solid playmakers around them, and you're in a weak division. Find somebody like a Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo, you go to the playoffs. Justin Mendo, get a pick. Let me clear my throat because it looks like your caps are on. Thoughts on Miami trading for Adam Theilen? Oh, okay, you sound excited about it. All right, I got you. So, Adam Theilen is a very fun receiver, and I actually think I know what you're talking about. So I saw a article from Bleacher Report that said that every trade that we wanted to happen in the offseason, they had Adam Theilen going to the Miami Dolphins. The issue with this is I just don't know if this is the right move that they should do, right? So I'll ask you this question, and then I'll also give you my 2 cents on this. Is Adam Theilen a top 10 receiver? Why for yes and for no? While you're getting your votes in, Do I think he's a top 10 receiver? I'm actually not 100% sure. Has he had over, it's like 950 receiving yards for the last 5 years? Yes, he has. But if you're going to go out and get a top, let's say 12 receiver, why would you trade for one when you can go out and sign somebody in free agency? I get that Thielen's contract is pretty favorable over the next 3 seasons. Now, if he's going to come there and you don't have to give up too much draft capital, sure, it's something you're interested in. But if you also just want to go out and sign somebody instead of giving up a draft pick, because you're probably going to have to give up a first rounder, in my opinion, for Thielen, I don't know if that's the route I would go. All right, we got OCKC underscore 2020. Kadarius Toney to the Chiefs at 32. Kadarius Toney, make it happen. All right, so it's not even a question. You're just saying it. I'll tell you what. This is one of those players that I didn't really know too much about, and then the more and more tape I watched on him, I was like, he's fun. He's explosive. And for Kansas City, I mean, I want you to think about this. DeMarcus Robinson, free agent. Sammy Watkins, free agent. Byron Pringle, free agent. I'm a believer that they end up bringing back Byron Pringle. They've been using him a lot more and more. Sammy Watkins, goner. DeMarcus Robinson, goner. And if you just want to continue to add more offensive weapons around Patrick Mahomes, that's totally fine with me. Gary D. Snail. Okay, Gary D. Snail 101. Shout out to SpongeBob. If the Raiders were to sign an edge rusher, who would you prefer? So out of all the edge rushers in free agency, I mean, Yannick Ngakoue is definitely up there. There's no doubt about that. Shaq Barrett would be interesting to me, though I think he ends up going back. Gus Bradley wants to continue to build the defensive line. If you're going to build somebody like on just the defensive line alone, Leonard Williams is the number one guy I would want on that defensive line for the Las Vegas Raiders. But Yannick Ngakoue, also another solid name out there, especially if money's not really an option. All right, Crane Gang. Will the Ravens sign Galladay? I'll tell you what. I don't know who Galladay is. I know who Kenny Galladay is, but I kid. They need to sign some receiver in free agency, right? I mean, this is the biggest need that they have. No offense to Hollywood Brown. He's not a number one receiver. Is he a great field stretcher? Yes, absolutely. But if you can go get somebody like a Kenny Galladay, that'd be a great fit. If you get somebody like Allen Robinson, it'd be an absolutely great fit. I want a bigger receiver that also wants to be able to block, because that's where the Ravens' bread and butter is going to be. It's going to be running the football. The 2 best blocking wide receivers, I'll say, in free agency that are probably actually worth a damn. Marvin Jones is a good blocker, bigger receiver. Kenny Galladay, good blocking receiver. And then Allen Robinson. Kenny Galladay probably going to pay like $17 million a year. Robinson's probably going to be up in the 20s, and then Marvin Jones is going to be at 9. But if you're going to pick between all 3 of those guys, just spend the money on A-Rob. Israel, okay, is Brian Burns a top 5 pass rusher? No, he's not. He had a better, I don't want to say he had a better rookie year, but he let me down a little bit, I'll say, from Carolina in year 2, but it's also because they lost so many pieces on defense. So join the channel here. NFL news, rumors, and mailbags like you're watching right now. Rumors. And if you want a whole lot more, seriously, subscribe to Chat Sports. We're a fun, we're an interactive channel. We're 100% free. And when breaking news happens, we go live. We also go live Monday, Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. So what are you waiting for? Hit the big red button that says subscribe. Todd Weiss, you're next up here on NFL Daily. Thoughts on UCF safety Richie Grant to the Raiders in the 2nd or 3rd round. So Monday, Tom said that right now one of his favorite prospects, one of his biggest sleepers, is actually safety Richie Grant. So anytime I hear Tom say something like that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go watch this player. He's a fun prospect. Safety is definitely a need for the Raiders. And if you could tell me I could get a guy like Richie Grant in round 3, I would pass on both the TCU safeties in round 1. I'd pass on Javon Holland in round 2. I would wait to go get a player like Richie Grant in round 3, and then hopefully you hit in free agency on one of the top free safeties like Justin Simmons, Anthony Harris, John Johnson, Marcus May, Marcus Williams. Like maybe you can get one of those 5 guys, pair him with a Richie Grant in round 3. I'm on board for that. Mark Kearns, what's up? Who would Dallas sign? Mitchell Trubisky if Dak signs elsewhere. Would Dallas sign Mitchell? I hope not. Mitchell Trubisky sucks. Don't trust anybody by the name Mitchell. Sorry, Mark. All right, we got next one coming in. Here's from Daniel Pina Hernandez. What quarterback should the 49ers get? Well, you're probably going to move on from Jimmy G. At least that's the route that I think that they're going to end up going. If you can get Deshaun Watson, you 100% try to do it. Do I think Derek Carr is an upgrade over Jimmy G? I do. Is it that big of an upgrade where you'd give up some picks? Probably not. But it's going to be really curious to see what happens with the 49ers, because I think this is a football team with that defense. They can win right now. but maybe they just go in the draft. Maybe they try to get somebody like Trey Lance. Maybe Justin Fields falls, and maybe they try to trade up for him. But the 49ers are in a really awkward spot, in my opinion. Gary Sanderson, A-Rob or Amari Cooper? In terms of who do I think is the better receiver, I'll take Allen Robinson. I think Allen Robinson has done a lot more with far less than Amari. Is Amari great? Yes, he is. But Allen Robinson shows up 16 games out of the year, shows up every single snap, doesn't matter about drama. Amari's great, but he definitely has some off games and has struggled against some top cornerbacks. Give me Allen Robinson. Jamba Juice 338, thoughts on J.J. Watt to the Browns? So we've already done a video about some top destinations for J.J. Watt. The Cleveland Browns were on that list, so please go check it out, where Tom and I break it down a lot more into detail. I think you're going to like the video a lot. I don't know if J.J. Watt remains with the Houston Texans. He could end up going somewhere else. I hope for J.J.'s sake, though, he can go somewhere where they're going to win, and I don't know if that's Cleveland. All right, Adam, what up? Who do the Vikings sign in free agency? I think, again, you're looking at somebody that needs to figure out what they're going to do with a player like Anthony Harris, and can you go out and get somebody more in that safety market? Can you find another top cornerback? Can you continue to build that offensive line? Those are some of the routes that I think the Minnesota Vikings need to look at. All right, last question here from Zornell Malone. Raiders should trade Derek Carr and CF, Cleveland Ferrell, and a 21 first-ish and a 2022 for Deshaun Watson. Zornell, there's just a lot going on here. Would I make the trade Derek Carr, Cleveland Ferrell, a 2021 first and a 2022 first in a heartbeat? The issue is I really don't think that that would even be enough for the Houston Texans, because it seems like they want a lot of first-round picks. So why not trade Derek Carr somewhere else, collect those first-round picks, and then trade that? But in terms of Cleveland Ferrell, that's not really a guy that I really want to get rid of.